Our housing is ever evolving with us, from a cave to a hut, from a hut to a castle, and from a castle to a skyscraper. What began as a desire to pack as many square meters as possible per unit of urban development has turned into a global competition, like who has the longest or, the tallest skyscraper. Today, we will tell you about the most interesting ones. The world's high-rise race began in New York City in the 30s of the last century. And the first stage was won by the most famous skyscraper, the Empire State Building. Its 102 floors soar 443 meters above Manhattan. From 1931 to 1970, it was the tallest building in the world. The construction involved 3,400 workers who toiled not only without rest, but also without insurance. The famous photo, Lunch on a Skyscraper, was taken during the construction of the building. Only 5 people died in the construction, but according to some sources, it was from 14 to 42 people. So the skyscraper is literally built on blood. The pace of construction was insane. They could have built 14 floors in 10 days. But even after the opening, people continued to die in the building. More than 30 people tried to commit suicide by jumping off this beautiful icon of New York City. And on July 28, 1945, a U.S. Air Force bomber lost in the fog crashed into the Empire State Building. The structure survived, but 14 people died. By the way, the old boy, who will soon be 100 years old, does not give up his position easily. The Empire State Building has starred in more than 90 movies. On September the 11th, 2001, when the World Trade Center Tower ceased to exist, the Empire State Building again became the tallest building in New York. But until 2012. The Steinway Tower is one among many skyscrapers in New York City. 82 floors, 435 meters. It is far from being the tallest, but it is the thinnest skyscraper in the world. The size of its foundation is only 32 by 61 meters. Against the backdrop of the rest of New York's skyscrapers, it looks very slender and refined. But for slimness, as all supermodels know, you need to pay quite a lot. 200 anchors had to be driven into the ground at a depth of 30 meters. And to keep the wind from the Atlantic from rocking the skyscraper, a huge damper weighing 800 tons had to be installed inside the tower. But the apartments in this very elegant skyscraper can cost up to $100 million. You probably know this London skyscraper as the Gherkin, a pickled cucumber, because of its shape and greenish color. To some Londoners, it looks more like a men's dignity. Well, anyway, what you see is up to you. The Gherkin is 180 meters high, but that's not why we love it. It's one of the most environmentally friendly skyscrapers in the world, thanks to the efficient use of natural light and ventilation. Most skyscrapers are built with internal columns, but the Mary X relies not only on a central core, but also on an external mesh concrete structure. That is, the original shape of the windows of the building are not just a whim of the architect, but a technical necessity. Inside the skyscraper, there are no internal load-bearing columns, but there is a lot of light and free space. Thanks to the original design, the skyscraper uses half of the energy of similar buildings. But the main thing about the Gherkin is its peculiar shape, which is unusually well integrated into the historic landscape of the City of London. Without it, it's like London isn't London anymore. Although strong earthquakes are not uncommon in Taiwan, it was here that a building was built that remained the tallest building in the world until 2008. The Taipei 101 skyscraper is 509 meters tall and can theoretically withstand an earthquake of up to 9 points. It is the most stable building in the world. It's supported by 36 columns, and the foundation is reinforced by 380 piles driven 80 meters into the ground. Inside the tower, between the 87th and 91st floors, a damper, a huge ball weighing 660 tons, had to be suspended. It oscillates with an amplitude of up to 1.5 meters, compensating for vibrations caused by wind or ground shocks. In 2002, before it opened, the skyscraper survived a 7-point earthquake. 2 construction cranes were destroyed and 5 people died, but the building survived. The elevator of the skyscraper can reach speeds of 60 kilometers per hour. It takes almost 37 seconds to go from the top floor to the bottom. And the exterior of the building is covered with modern LED equipment, making the skyscraper a main feature in all of Taiwan's celebrations and shows. And how much for such beauty and reliability? Only $1.7 billion. No one is surprised by ordinary 300-meter skyscrapers in the 21st century. But a dizzying 300-meter structure weighing 12,000 tons, suspended at a dizzying height, can very well be. Chinese engineers decided not to participate in the high-rise race, but instead stood out by building the world's largest horizontal skyscraper. The giant Raffles city complex in Chongqing and the 300-meter transparent horizontal platform called Crystal that connects the 4 complex's 8 buildings have become a landmark in the world of architecture. The horizontal skyscraper was assembled from 7 separate parts. 4 of these were assembled on the roofs of the towers, and 3 connecting segments were on the ground. They were then lifted up with cable jacks. The cost of the project is estimated at $4.8 billion. Now there are winter gardens, numerous restaurants, a concert stage, a club, a swimming pool, exhibition halls, and a dizzying panorama of the 30 million strong city of Chongqing at a height of 250 meters. What do you think of our collection of skyscrapers? Want more? We'll continue in a moment. But take a few seconds to like and subscribe. Are you done? Then we'll keep going. If I can't buy happiness, I can rent it, thought an Arab sheikh, and rented a room for $24,000 at the Burj Al Arab. And he was lucky because he was able to spend unforgettable nights in a hotel in the form of a sail on an artificial island with a view of both the ocean and Dubai. In 1999, when the hotel was just being built, there was little that could attract tourists to this red-hot desert. It was the Burj Al Arab, obscenely, unthinkably luxurious and pompous, that became the real symbol of the city, drowning in petrodollars. The height of the hotel is 321 meters. It has 60 floors, it looks fine in any pictures, and probably the most important thing is not in the appearance, but in the inconceivable luxury of the interior design. In the lobby, the decor is solid gold, marble sculpted by Michelangelo. The ceiling is decorated with 21,000 crystals, symbolizing the Milky Way. A British journalist was so impressed by this luxury that he suggested that the hotel should have 7 stars instead of 5, and everyone agreed. Allow me to introduce the Newby McMahon skyscraper. You may say it is an ugly 4-story shack. This skyscraper can officially be called a building as it's lower than 120 meters. But on paper, the Newby McMahon building is a skyscraper. In 1912, in Wichita Falls, the engineer J.D. McMahon signed a contract to build a skyscraper 146 meters high for $200,000. A year later, investors saw a skyscraper of 12 meters high. But how? It turned out that the architect had intentionally entered all the dimensions in inches, not feet, in the drawings, and no one noticed. The courts could not hold the contractor accountable, so McMahon took the $200,000 and rode off into the sunset, and a landmark appeared in this small American town, the smallest skyscraper in the world. And now we invite you to Australia. The Green Continent also approached the construction of skyscrapers from the green side. One Central Park is a living flower bed, 116 meters high, a complex of 2 towers and the tallest garden in the world. The main goal of the architect was to design a building that would help to reduce carbon dioxide levels, so on its facade they've planted more than 100,000 plants. All things have their place. The most light and wind-resistant plants were on top, climbing plants wrapped around the pillars, and balcony railings and those that like shade were planted below. The green walls are automatically moistened by the apartment complex's filtered wastewater. Plants in boxes provide shade and save on air conditioning. The building is a single independent ecosystem and runs on solar panels. One Central Park will function normally even if all of Sydney is blacked out. This complex is like a greenhouse in which people accidentally moved in. Would you like to live in such a garden? And what is the tallest building in the world right now? It pierces the sky like a huge glass arrow, admiring its unprecedented splendor. Its glass walls reflect both the relentless desert sun and the modern metropolis. It can be seen 100 kilometers away in the barren desert. Where only a few decades ago caravans passed, now rises the proud spire, the Burj Khalifa, 823 meters high. This building was built specifically to achieve the highest record and highlight the glorious city of Dubai. But the construction of this colossus was a real engineering feat. Every day, 12,000 people worked on the construction site under the hellish sun. Especially for the Burj Khalifa, a special type of concrete was created that could withstand temperatures of 50 degrees Celsius. But still, they had to add ice to the concrete and only pour it at night. Still, after spending 6 years and $1.5 billion, the builders completed the masterpiece. During the day, it dominates the city and the surrounding desert. And in the evening, its walls bloom with the light of spectacular light shows. Burj Khalifa attracted so many tourists from all over the world to Dubai that the investment paid off in the first year after opening. Thanks to Burj Khalifa, Dubai has proven to the world who has the biggest symbol of prosperity. So who will be the next leader in the high-rise race? This monster has been under construction in the sands of Saudi Arabia since 2013 and is called the Jeddah Tower. By design, it should have a height of 1,007 meters, but something went wrong. In 2018, construction was suspended due to financial abuses. Then COVID-19 hit, and on January 1st, 2022, there was a fire at the top of the unfinished tower. Rumor has it that we will be able to see the results closer to 2030. Which skyscraper did you like the most? Be sure to write it in the comments. Don't forget to like it and subscribe. Onward and upward. Bye-bye.